Welcome to miniOrange. In this video, we will be performing Atlassian Cloud SAML SSO with Okta using miniOrange's identity broker solution. Identity brokering is a way to establish trust between parties who wants to use online identities of one another. miniOrange IDP supports cross-protocol brokering, which means in our case we can configure Atlassian Cloud which supports SAML protocol, with any identity providers that may support any other SSO protocols like OAuth IDC, JWT, LDAP, etc. If SAML is supported by your identity provider, you can still use brokering to use the features of miniOrange Identity Broker. Let's see few features of miniOrange Identity Broker. Multiple IDPs. You can configure multiple identity providers to authenticate different types of users with different IDPs. Multiple department-based login allows users to redirect to their IDP based on their department. Domain mapping allows users to redirect to their IDP based on their email domains. Custom attribute mapping is a provision to update the user profile attributes in the application with the user attributes received from the IDP. Secure your SSO with signed requests and encrypted SAML assertions. Username transformation extracts the required username from the received attribute using regular expression. Group mapping allows to map users' IDP groups to application groups. Integrate your application with multiple user stores, like AD, LDAP, external database, etc. to easily manage your users. Easily migrate your server SSO settings into cloud. Faster and better troubleshooting issues, support, and end-to-end setup assistance. You can share plugin configurations and logs via email or customer portal. As discussed earlier, we will be configuring Atlassian Cloud with Okta using miniOrange Broker. The setup is divided in two parts. Part 1 will consist of configuration between Atlassian Cloud as SP and miniOrange as IDP. And in the Part 2 we will configure SSO between miniOrange as SP and Okta as IDP. Finally, we will be concluding the setup by combining Part 1 and 2 to show the SSO between Atlassian Cloud and Okta using miniOrange Broker. Here we will be covering custom attribute mapping. This option is used to add custom user profile attributes in the application. The identity provider should send custom attributes in the SSO response to the miniOrange Identity Broker, which miniOrange will further send to Atlassian Cloud. The custom user attributes can be department ID, groups, phone number, etc. Firstly, we will be configuring Atlassian Cloud SAML SSO using miniOrange IDP. Log into Atlassian Access Admin Console. Navigate to the Security tab. Select SAML Single Sign-On. Click on the shown link to get the SAML configuration instructions for different identity providers. If your identity provider is listed in this pop-up, you can follow the instructions mentioned in the respective link. If your identity provider isn't supported, then you will need to add the Atlassian application to it manually. Here is the attributes for attribute mapping. You will find attributes for the user's first name, last name, and name ID. You can click here to view the setup guide for configuration. Click on Got It. Now click on Add SAML Configuration. To get the identity provider entity ID, identity provider SSO URL, and public X509 certificate, create a SAML application in the miniOrange IDP. This is the setup guide document with step-by-step instructions for configuration. Use this link to go to the miniOrange login page. If you do not have miniOrange account, then you can create one with the help of Create an Account link in the login page. Log into miniOrange Admin Console. From the left panel, navigate to Apps. Click on Add Application. Go to SAML Card and create an app. Select Atlassian Cloud SAML app. Edit the custom application name as required. Enter the SP entity ID and ACS URL as shown in the video. These are generic URLs which you will find in the description as well. You'll get the Atlassian Cloud's SP entity ID and ACS URL once the app is successfully created in the Atlassian Cloud. Make sure that Sign Response and Sign Assertion button is enabled. Click on Save. Your app is configured successfully. To get the metadata details of this application, navigate to metadata of the application as shown. Since we are using miniOrange as identity broker, go to the information required to authenticate via external IDPs section. Click on Show Metadata Details. Copy the IDP entity ID and paste it in the given field in SAML app configuration. Copy SAML login URL and paste it in the given field. Copy X509 certificate and paste it as shown. Click on Save Configuration. As the application is successfully created, you will find the actual SP entity ID and SP ACS URL here. You can either copy-paste these URLs directly into the application, or just copy the unique ID from these URLs and go back to the miniOrange IDP app section, edit your app, and append SP entity ID, audience URL, and ACS URL with the copied unique ID. Save the changes. Application configuration will be updated successfully. Go back to Atlassian Cloud application and navigate to View Authentication Policies. To enable the SSO for users, we need to add policy. Click on Add Policy and enter the policy name. And click on Add. Under Single Sign-On, enabling for Single Sign-On, this will enforce the assigned members to log into Atlassian products with your identity provider. Click on Update. Now go to Members and click on Add Members. Enter the username and click on Add Members. Now in the Members section, you can see that the member is added successfully. In the miniOrange application, navigate to Users and select User List. We have already added the user here. You can add user by clicking on Add User button. You can either add the user by adding personal details and then click on Create, or else you can add the users in a bulk by uploading CSV file. You can download the sample CSV file using this link. Let's check the connection between Atlassian Cloud and miniOrange. Now, in the Atlassian Cloud login page, enter the user mail ID and proceed. The user will be redirected to miniOrange login page for SAML authentication. Login with miniOrange IDP credentials. You will be successfully logged into the Atlassian Cloud app using miniOrange credentials. Hence, test connection between Atlassian Cloud as SP and miniOrange as an IDP is successful. If you do not have any identity provider, then you can always go with miniOrange, and your setup ends here. Let's configure SAML SSO in miniOrange as service provider using Okta as IDP. Now in the miniOrange broker, navigate to the Identity Provider tab. Click on Add Identity Provider. You can configure Okta IDP in miniOrange broker manually by entering these details, or by uploading the metadata file, URL, or text. You will get this details from the Okta application that you will be creating further. To configure miniOrange into your identity provider, you will require its metadata information. To get those details, click here. Click on Show Metadata Details. We will need these details further for configuring miniOrange into Okta application. Now, let's configure Okta as identity provider. Log into your Okta account. Go to the Applications and create App Integration. Select SAML 2.0 and click on Next. Enter the app name and click on Next. You will find the single sign-on URL and SP entity ID in the miniOrange broker. Copy the ACS URL and paste it in the Okta application. Copy the entity ID and paste it. Click on Next. Select the required option. Click on Finish. Now in the Assignment tab, go to the Assign drop-down. Select Assign to People. We need to assign the user for performing SSO. Click on Save and go back. We need to assign the miniOrange admin user for the successful test configuration. Click on Save and go back. Click on Done. You can see that both the users are assigned. Go back to Add Identity Provider in miniOrange Broker. Here, we will be configuring Okta by importing IDP metadata using metadata URL. Go to the Okta application you created. In the Sign On tab, you will find metadata information to manually configure Okta in miniOrange Broker, using View Setup Instructions button. And to configure the metadata using metadata URL, click on Identity Provider Metadata link. Copy the URL. Go back to Identity Provider in miniOrange Broker, and click on Import IDP Metadata. Enter the IDP name. Select URL. And paste the copied URL here. And click on Import. You can see that the data is imported in the respective fields. Now enable Sign XAML request. And click on Save. Identity Provider configuration is saved successfully. Now, let's check connection between miniOrange and Okta. Select your IDP, and click on Test Configuration. You can see successful test configuration, along with the name ID. Let's test our SSO configuration between Atlassian Cloud and Okta using miniOrange Identity Broker. If no member is added in the Atlassian Cloud app, then while logging into Atlassian account, you will be asked for account password. However, while configuring Atlassian Cloud with miniOrange Identity Broker, we had added this member. Now go to Atlassian Cloud login page, and enter the user's mail ID. User will be redirected to Okta login page for SAML authentication. Log in with your Okta credentials. You will be successfully logged into your Atlassian Cloud application dashboard with Okta credentials, by using miniOrange as a broker between Atlassian Cloud and Okta. Now, let's see how can we map custom attributes. Go to the Okta application, and in the General tab, edit the SAML settings. Click on Next. Now scroll down to Attribute Statement. Here you can map the required attributes as first name, last name, email, login name, and so on. In the Group Attribute Statements, enter Group. And select Matches Rejects from the Filter drop-down, and enter ** to get all the Okta groups. Click on Next. And finish. Now go back to General tab, and scroll down. You can see Map User Attributes, and Group Attributes here. Go back to miniOrange Identity Provider tab. Select Okta Identity Provider, and click on Test Connection. You can see the mapped attributes as first name, last name, login name, email, and group. After miniOrange Broker fetches attributes from IDP, it then sends it to Atlassian Cloud. User can log into Atlassian Cloud based on these custom attributes. You can check our other Atlassian apps. LDAP Connector provides user authentication from various external directories for Atlassian Access. OIDC app allows users to log in into Atlassian Cloud with OAuth and OpenID Connect. Use two-factor authentication for secure login to your Atlassian Cloud applications. PDF Exporter app gives the ability to export Jira issues in the standard business document file format like PDF and Word document. Create and share secure links for Jira issues and Confluence pages, allowing end users to access the issue and pages without login. We have covered the configuration of miniOrange IDP as Identity Broker between Atlassian Cloud and Okta. To understand more about OAuth or SAML configurations for your Atlassian Cloud applications, raise a ticket with us with a link in the description. miniOrange provides best single sign-on solutions. Thanks for watching.